Pink thinking.
The linked couple?
No. Below.
Oh, tinging. Um,
Tinging.
so it's like coloring. So like to tinge is to, yeah, to color. So she's kind of blushing a little bit.
Okay.
Um, tinging, sorry. So can you repeat tinging one more time?
Tinging.
Yeah.
Tinging.
And any other questions with anybody else? Okay. And let's have Simone. Can you read until hand?
Sorry, Joshua. From
When?
when? Okay,
Mm-hmm.
until hand.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, I'm sorry, I was on the phone. Okay,
That's
let's
okay.
do it. Okay, when she spoke, her voice, full, sweet, and deliberate, proclaimed that its owner was accustomed to speak and be heard. Well, Mr. Easton, if you make me speak first, I suppose I must. Don't you ever recognize old friends when you meet them in the West? The younger man roused himself sharply at the sound of her voice, seemed to struggle with a slight embarrassment, which he threw off instantly, and then clasped her fingers with his left hand.
Okay. Let's look at deliberate.
Say again.
Deliberate.
Deliberate. Deliberate.
Yeah. Accustomed.
Accustomed. I said accustomed.
Yeah, it's okay.
Sorry.
Accustomed.
Accustomed. Okay,
Perfect.
thank you.
Okay. Questions here. Does anybody have any questions?
Um, clasped her fingers with his left hand. It's like, I don't know.
Grabbed.
Okay.
So yeah, if you like clasp, it's like you squeeze, maybe kind of like a squeeze. So squeezed
Ah,
our fingers with his hand.
okay.
Any other questions?
Hmm.
Okay. Whoa. Sorry. And then let's have Amp. Can you read the next part?
"It's Miss Fairchild," he said, with a smile. "I asked you to excuse the other hand. It's otherwise engaged just at present. Oops. Okay." He slightly raised his right hand, bound at the wrist by the shining bracelet to the left one of his companion. The glad look in the girl's eyes slowly changed to a bewildered horror. The glow faded from her cheeks. Her lips parted in a vague, relaxing distress. Easton, with a little laugh, as if amused, was about to speak again when the other
Forestalled.
forestalled him.
Yeah. Bewildered.
Bewildered,
Okay. Questions
meaning
here.
yeah, meaning bewildered and forestalled.
Okay. Bewildered is like surprised, like really surprised. Horror. And forestalled is like cut him off. Um, yeah, so if you just you you make somebody wait to speak is like you're forestalling them.
Okay.
Okay. And any other questions from anybody?
Mm.
Uh, Sorry, I missed the last word.
Forestalled.
Mm, yes.
So if you're for stalling somebody, it's like you're cutting them off. You're making them wait.
Mm-hmm.
Because, yeah, he's interrupting.
Mm.
Does that make sense?
Yes.
Okay. Any other questions? I think somebody else was about to say something.
Mm,
Okay. And all right. So I guess Judith, what's happening so far in this story? What's happening?
Okay, we are in a carriage, and
Train.
there is a train. What's the name of the compartment of the train?
A
Car?
compartment. Yeah, in a car.
Okay. And there is a woman, beautiful, and two young men. And the woman is a friend of one of them, and she spoke to him.
Yeah. Good. And the two men are
I don't remember the word. Or handcuffed together.
perfect. That's exactly it. Good. All right. And Julieta, can you read the next little part?
The glam-faced man had been watching the girl's countenance with veiled glances from his keen, shrewd eyes. You'll excuse me for speaking, miss, but I see you're acquainted with the marshal here. If you ask him to speak a word for me when we get to the pen, he'll do it, and I'll make things easier for me there. He's taking me to Leavenworth prison. It's 7 years for counterfeiting.
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 Yeah. Okay. And questions here.
Shrewd.
Shrewd is, it's like really intelligent. Somebody who's shrewd is, yeah, smart or intelligent. Yeah, really quick. Any other questions?
what does
Come.
veiled glance mean?
What
Veiled glance.
does
Veiled glance.
a veiled glance? So a glance is like a look. So if you glance at somebody, you look at them really quickly. And a veiled glance is like a look that's covered. So a veil covers your face. And so if you're making veiled glances, they're like kind of hidden little glances.
Okay.
Does that make sense?
Yes, it makes sense.
Okay.
Thank you.
The girl's countenance, Juliet, I think is what you were asking. Your countenance is just your face. It's like how you look. Make sense?
And yes, and the last word?
Counterfeiting. Making false money.
Oh,
I mean,
okay.
in this case, it's making false money. If you counterfeit something, it's like you make something false. So a counterfeit is just a false thing. So like a counterfeit Rolex. Are really common in street markets in parts of the world. But yeah, he's talking about counterfeiting money, making false money. Anybody else have any questions? Okay. And let's have Heidi. Can you read the next part?
Oh, said the girl, with a deep breath and returning color. So that is what you are doing out here. Marshall, my dear Miss Fairchild, said Easton calmly. I had to do something. Money has a way of taking wings unto itself, and you know it takes money to keep step with our crowd in Washington. I saw this opening in the West, and well, a marshalship isn't quite as high a position as that of ambassador, but
Nice. Okay. Questions here. Okay. And Javier, can you read the next part?
The ambassador, said the girl warmly, doesn't call anymore. He needn't ever have done so. You ought to know that. And so now you are one of these dashing Western heroes, and you ride and shoot and go into all kinds of dangers. That's different from the Washington life. You have been missed from the old crowd. The girl's eyes, fascinated, went back, widening a little, to rest upon the glittering handcuffs.
Glittering. Can you repeat glittering?
Glitter, glittering, glittering.
Perfect. And questions. Does anybody have any questions here?
Glittering?
Okay. So glittering is like shining or sparkling.
Okay.
Any other questions? Okay. And all right. Let's go on. Next part. And Amp, can you read the next part?
Don't you worry about them, miss, said the other man. All marshals handcuff themselves to their prisoners to keep them from getting away. Mr. Easton knows his business. Will we see you again in Washington? Asked the girl. Not soon, I think, said Easton. My butterfly days are over, I fear. I love the West, said the girl irrelevantly. Her eyes were shining softly. She looked away out the car window. She began to speak truly and simply, without the gloss of style and manner.
Nice. That sounded really good. Nice job with it irrelevantly. Questions here, guys? Dashing. Dashing is like handsome and brave, kind of at the same time. So somebody is dashing, they're like handsome, brave, daring. It's like kind of, yeah, how you would describe a hero. Yeah. Any other questions? My butterfly days are over. What's he mean by that?
That he will go to prison, I think. No?
Well, yeah. I mean, yeah. So why do you think that?
Because butterfly is free, but now he will not free.
Okay. Well, I
Will be
mean,
not free.
so from what we know now, like, what's Easton's job?
His, I don't remember. I
The
don't
marshal?
remember.
Is what we got? So what we've got so far is like we've got the glum-faced man and we have the young man who's Easton. Easton is the friend of the beautiful woman. And so when the girl sees the handcuffs, The glum-faced man says, "You'll excuse me for speaking, miss, but I see you're acquainted with the marshal here." So the marshal is like the police officer.
Mhm.
And so the glum-faced man says, like, yeah, if you ask him to speak a word for me, so like, get him to support me when we get to jail, and it'll make things easier for me. Yeah, and he says, I'm going to jail for counterfeiting, but you should put in a word for me. And then so she says, happily, it's like, oh, that's what you're doing. It's like, well, I had to do something, I suppose. I think we also understand that she was seeing an ambassador, and the ambassador doesn't call anymore. So she had a relationship with an ambassador who maybe this young boy was jealous of, but the ambassador doesn't call anymore. Right. And again, the glum-faced man who's saying all marshals handcuff themselves to their prisoners to keep them from getting away. Does that make sense, Julieta?
Mm, maybe.
Maybe it makes sense?
Yes. So what are the butterfly?
My butterfly days are over. It's like, yeah, it's a social butterfly. So my days of being a social butterfly are over. That's what
Okay.
he's saying. So yeah, he's like, I won't be back in Washington for a little while.
Mhm.
The gloss is like the shine, so that's something else. All right, and Amp just read. Julieta, can you read the next little bit?
Mama and I spent the summer in Denver. She went home a week ago because father was slightly ill. I could live and be happy in the West. I think the air here agrees with me. Money isn't everything, but people always misunderstand things and remain stupid. Say, Mr. Marshall, um, growled the glum-faced man, this isn't quite fair. I'm needing a drink and haven't had a smoke all day.
Nice. Really good job. And questions here.
Can I say I'm needing a drink?
Yeah, I'm needing a drink. Don't say it. I need a drink is better. It's just a way that some people speak. This was written a long time ago as well, so you've got a little bit of change in like dialect or just slang.
Mm.
So yeah, I need a drink would be much more common. I'm needing a drink. Nah, yeah, I wouldn't recommend ever saying it. And growled. So if you're growling, it's like what dogs do when they're angry. They kind of have like this low voice, like low sound, and they're like, "Arr." And that's a growl. And so when somebody is growling, it just means that he has like a really low voice. So the glum-faced man has this low voice, and he's speaking slowly. That's all. Any other questions? Okay. And Heidi, can you read the next part?
Haven't you talked long enough? Take me in the smoke now, won't you? I'm half dead for a pipe. The bound travelers rose to their feet, Ethan with the same slow smile on his face. I can't deny a petition for tobacco, he said lightly. It's the one of friend of the unfortunate. Goodbye, Miss Fairchild. Duty calls, you know. He held out his hand for a farewell. It's too bad you are not going east, she said, recrossing herself with manner and style.
Nice. For a farewell.
For a farewell.
Yeah. Okay. Other than that, it sounded good. Maybe reclothing yourself.
reclothing herself.
Yeah, reclothing. Good. And does anybody have any questions here? Okay. And Javier, can you read? Let's get on to the next page. Can you read the next part? Javier?
Yes, sorry. Okay, so, but you must go on to Leavenworth, I suppose. Yes, said Easton. I must go on to Leavenworth. The two men sat down the aisle into the smoker. The two passengers in a seat nearby had heard most of the conversation. Said one of them, that Marshall's a good sort of chap. Some of these Western fellows are all right.
Good. Can you repeat sidled?
Sidled?
On the aisle. And so like to sidle is to walk sideways. So they're kind of like walking because they're still hooked together, so they can't walk normally, so they're walking kind of sideways.
Okay.
Yeah. And any questions here?
What does sort of chap mean?
He's a good sort of chap. Means like he's like an alright guy. He's a really nice guy.
Okay.
The chap is just a guy. Person. He's a good guy. Any other questions?
Settle down.
Okay, yeah, sidle down is to walk sideways. So again, because they're hooked together, they can't walk straight, so they have to like walk in this kind of sideways shuffle, which is to sidle. Any other questions? Okay. Let's have Amp. Can you finish the last one?
Pretty young to hold an office like that, isn't he? Asked the other. Young? Exclaimed the first speaker. Why? Oh, didn't you catch on? Say, did you ever handcuff a prisoner to his right hand?
Okay, good. And that's the end. So, Amp, maybe just young? Exclaimed the first speaker. Why? Oh, you didn't catch on?
Okay. Young? Exclaimed the first speaker. Why? Oh, didn't you catch on?
It's more like why? Oh, didn't you catch on?
Why? Oh, didn't you catch on?
Yeah. Okay, better. Right. So what is happening here, Amp? What's going on?
It's something weird in that it's unusual that someone is handcuffed in his right hand.
Right hand. So it's someone. Who is the someone?
The officer.
Huh. It's unusual that the officer is handcuffed by his right hand, which means that the
Prisoner.
the prisoner is usually handcuffed by his right hand. So in this story, who's the prisoner?
The other guy. The prisoner. Well, Mr. Easton. Then.
Huh? Yeah. Yeah. So the prisoner is Mr. Easton. Julieta, why is the marshal a nice chap? Or why does the other person say that marshal is a good sort of chap?
Probably because he didn't say to the friends that he's a prisoner?
Yeah,
Mm.
let the woman know friend was a prisoner. Yeah, so he tried to do the prisoner like just like a really nice thing. And he's just like a good guy. I think that's it. Does anybody have any questions or comments or thoughts about this story? All right. Maybe Heidi, did you like it? Did you get it?
Yeah.
Did you like it though?
Not so much. I like O. Henry, but this is not likely his novel.
Okay. So you like O. Henry, but it's not like his novels. Right, so what didn't you like about it then?
He has a lot of short stories. They
Uh-huh.
are much better than this one for me. I'm sorry.
No worries. Okay.
Mm.
Julieta, what do you think?
What I don't know, but I had this feeling that the nice guy was the prisoner, so probably I didn't get the story. I don't know.
Okay, so Mr. Easton was a prisoner?
Yes,
Yeah, well he was.
because he was embarrassed.
If he was what?
Embarrassed.
Yeah, because he was embarrassed. Yeah, I think it was given away relatively early. Yeah, but good. And does anybody have any other questions here? Okay, let's
Yes, one question. What is the name of this book?
So this is Hands and Hearts, or Hearts and Hands. Sorry, and it's a short story, not a
Hearts.
book.
Okay. So, how does it finish, the story?
Okay, so the story finishes just the man going to jail, and he meets his friend,
Uh-huh.
and they're talking. She's like, "You have to go," and he says, "Yeah, I have to go." And then two other passengers. So like the two men go into another car in the train, so they leave, and the passengers say that Marshall's a good sort of chap. And we think all along, supposedly, that the Marshal is this Easton guy, and we find out that it is the other man. It's the glum-faced man who's the Marshal.
Uh-huh.
And that's it. Just kind of like a little surprise ending.
It's nice.
Yeah. Okay. And let's go on. Try to read something else. Hold on one second, guys. I think. Miracles. Okay, well, let's try this. I think we've done it before, but I like the story, so I'm gonna read it again. And let's have, I think we're with, I don't know who finished. I think it was Amp. So Julieta, can you read the title and the first little paragraph? Julieta? Heidi, can you read the title and the first little paragraph?
100 apocalypses and order apocalypse. So difficult. Lucy Corin cake. She baked an angel food cake for the dinner party, which means it's as white as possible in cake except golden on the outside, and you have to cut it with a serrated knife. It's funny to eat because you can kind of tear it. Unlike most cakes, I stretch it a little. It's a little supernatural. I like an angel.
Okay, let's look at apocalypses.
Apocalypse. I learned this one, but it's still difficult.
It's a difficult word, yeah. You can kind of tear it.
Can kind of tear.
Tear. It's got a long A. Tear.
Tear it.
It stretches a little.
It stretches a little.
Perfect. All right. And questions in that first part?
Serrated.
Serrated. So a serrated knife is a knife. So it's got jagged teeth. And two. So if that's like the knife, this is the serrated part.
Yeah. For bread.
For bread.
Mm.
And any other questions? Okay. And Javier, can you read the next little part?
Yes. I was watching her with her boyfriend because I admire them, and I'm trying to make them an example in my life of good love being possible. Toward the end of the cake, everyone was talking, and a couple of people were seeing if they could eat the live edible flowers that she'd put on the cake for decoration. A fairy cake. She told a story about making the cake.
Okay. That sounded good. Nice job with edible. Questions here?
Yes, edible?
Edible.
Edible.
Edible means that you can eat it.
Okay.
Okay.
Thank you.
Yeah. And Amp, can you read the next part?
There wasn't a lot left. Everyone was eating the ends of their pieces in different ways, and because of the stretchy texture, there were more methods than usual, and not crumbs at all. Really funny cake. I tried to imagine making the cake, same as I often try to imagine love. I would never make a cake, so it's down to say less than a quarter of the cake, and the boyfriend reaches across the table.
Good. Questions? Okay. No questions. Alright, and so we're kind of continuing on the same one. So the boyfriend reaches across the table. Giulietta, can you continue the sentence?
It is a big table that no one else would be able to reach across. He just has really long arms, and he takes the serrated knife, but when he cuts at the cake, he doesn't do the sewing action, he just presses. Defeats the point of a serrated knife. The cake squishes as he cuts it in half. It was only a piece of itself already, clinging to its imaginary axis, and it is not even a wedge. It is pushed down like you can push down the nose on your face.
Alright, well I think I got you. It's pushed down like you can push down the nose on your face. Judith, are you there?
Yes, I'm here.
Okay. He just has really long arms. He just has really long arms. And then sawing.
On. Sewing.
Yeah, sawing. Okay. Questions here.
Mm, What is wedge?
A wedge is a little triangle.
Okay.
So, yeah. If you like have a doorstop, that's a wedge. Yeah,
Okay.
it's just that shape. Any other questions?
Clinging? Cling Clinging, yes.
Clinging, it's like holding on. Um, yeah, so holding on to like the imaginary like center line that, yeah, that makes it a cake. Um, all right, and where were we? Heidi, can you read the next part?
And then he takes his piece with his hand, and I watch the last piece of cake to see if it spring back up, but it doesn't. It's just squished on one side, like someone stepped on it. But here's what I don't understand: is how all through she's just chatting with the dinner guest, and it's like he's done nothing at all. He's not looking at him like you squished the cake, and she's not looking at him like.
Good. Okay. Questions? Okay. Javier, can you continue?
He loves the cake so much he couldn't help himself, and he doesn't seem to be thinking. Only I can squeeze the cake, or is he? I never know how to read people. But here's what else. Watching the wrong cake disappear, watching the people trying to make the most of their pieces, people coveting the cake on one hand and remaining themselves on the other, that this will not be the last cake.
Good. Okay. Nice job with coveting. Questions here.
Yes, coveting.
Coveting is like loving and wanting and desiring. Like,
Okay.
it's a strange word because you can covet objects, but generally it's used for like kind of more sexual love. Um, yeah, which is it's also kind of what this story is about. Um, any other questions?
Mm,
Okay, let's go on to the next part. And Amp, can you read the last part of the story?
But will it be the last? I look at their love and I feel like this could be the very last piece of it on earth, and just look at it.
Good. Um, and so what we were talking about before was like this is the girlfriend and the girl who makes the cake and her boyfriend, and she's like the narrator admires them, tries to have them as an example of good love being possible in the world. Um, and so we have this like comparison of cake and love. Um, yeah. So does anybody have any questions here about this story? Okay. This one's free online as well. So Cake by Lucy Quinn. Yeah, anyways, I've got another class starting up right in a second. If you want to join, I'd love to see you there. But if not, have a really good day, and thanks for coming in.
And teacher, take care. See ya.
Bye, guys.
Bye, guys.